When people think of an articulate, intellectual, cerebral orator that can communicate effectively and efficiently to the masses, they almost never think of Kamala Harris, who is famous for her word salads, her mumbling, rambling nonsense, and then laying the yeah, the condescending head nod as if she just laid down some truth that you all need to hear. Well, the Vice President is at it again, this time with a misspeak, but I think important misspeak given the political rhetoric and how heated it has gotten. I want you to watch this and then we'll discuss. This goes from political misspeak to, I don't know, another word salad of hers, but this is her most recent iteration, and this is the most recent, obviously, addition to the Kamala Harris files, of which we will play more after this. Check this out.
You know, every election cycle we talk about this is the most election of our lifetime. Lawrence, this one is. This one is. We are literally talking about people who are attempting to divide our country in the most crude, frankly, and profound way. We are talking about those who are intent and purposeful to attack fundamental freedoms, be it the freedom to make a decision about your own body, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, the freedom to be free from fear of violence and hate, the freedom to just be, the freedom to just be.
I let that ramble on probably longer than I should, but if you missed it at the very beginning, this is the most election of our time. Missed a word there, Kamala. Most important election, most crucial election, but some sort of descriptor of the term election is something that you probably should have added in there. Now, is that just a simple, screwed it up? Yes. Is it a simple gaffe? Absolutely. But at the same time, is it more telling of the political rhetoric that we are currently undergoing? Is it so telling that that isn't the focal point anymore, whereas it used to be? Now, I don't know if you remember this. Every election since, Nixon, since the radio/TV was invented for political ads, there has been the saying, this is the most important election of our lifetime. And that's why Kamala Harris said it. Again, not as precise as one would probably like her to say it as. This is the most election of our time. Honey, this is the most dinner we've had tonight. Actually, that one kind of makes sense. But regardless, maybe the key takeaway is that that isn't the most important thing to say. Maybe the key takeaway is all of the things she said afterward. If Donald Trump is elected, we will lose the right to just be. To just be. I don't know. The political rhetoric is insane at the moment, and I don't know how... I don't know. We're going to get out of this as a country and as a people because holy cow are things off the rails at the moment. I want to play this clip because I feel like you deserve it, we all deserve it, but this is a look back, a fond look back at some of the more public, for lack of a better term, Kamala mishaps, misspeaks, and word salad. I want you to watch this, we'll watch it together, and laugh affectionately if the Vice President attempts to, again, communicate to the American people in an effective way and fails to do so miserably. Check this out.
As we all know, elections matter. And when folks vote, they order what they want, and in this case, they got what they asked for.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. I am here, standing here
on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank and our NATO allies.
Sorry, I gotta pause that. We are that are, have been doing, we then. People here, together we. Must, standing, eastern flank, western flank. I don't know, I'm not doing it justice. We'll roll on.
Is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't know. We must together work together to see where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision for where we should be, but also see it as a moment, yes, to together address the challenges. We have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
Is that
This is way longer than I thought it was. We are together, can together, be one together, as we together we are. Do we want to roll on? We'll just roll on. This will end up being a longer cut of a video that was not supposed to be this long, but what a pause right there. Look at that pause. Look at that thumbnail pause. Love it. Watch this.
stake at this very moment? What is at stake this very moment are some of the guiding principles around the NATO alliance.
As it relates to what we need to do domestically as well as what we need to do in terms of this issue generally, we have, as the President said, reevaluated what we're doing. Based on what we've just been able to see, and because we've seen it or not doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But just limited to what we have seen.
All right. Here's what I think would be funny. Do you guys remember giving speeches in elementary school when you're like first starting to do public speaking? I don't know if it's like 4th grade, 5th grade. Before you start writing your own speeches, a lot of times you'll have to memorize a famous speech. In my case, I think I memorized the Gettysburg Address, which was very short, which I think is why I picked it. But you have to memorize like a historical speech by a prominent American figure, and you have to recite that speech to the class. How funny would it be if 4th graders around the country told their teachers and their parents, I want to memorize a Kamala Harris speech. And they got up there and said, here together, we are together. As one being together, we must stick together. And therefore, we, as a people, must together be one. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good Kamala Harris. That was pretty good if I do say so myself. One, I think it would be hilarious. 2, I think it would be extraordinarily impressive. You try to remember some of those Kamala word salads. They're difficult. It's easy to remember a coherent speech that has a beginning and an end and a means of getting from the beginning to the end. But to just say jumbled up words, that takes more skill and talent. And so the 4th grader that can pull that off and recite verbatim a Kamala Harris word salad, that student, I believe, deserves an A.